Today, I want to talk about something that lives quietly inside many of us. It doesn't shout, it doesn't always show on the surface, but it sits in the heart, sometimes heavy, sometimes warm. I want to talk about the feeling of wanting to make our family proud. Maybe you know this feeling. Maybe you have carried it for years. Maybe you are carrying it right now. When I say, I want to make my family proud, I am not only talking about success, I am not only talking about money or a good job or a big house. I am talking about something deeper. I am talking about the look in your mother's eyes when she smiles softly. I am talking about the quiet nod from your father when he says, "I'm proud of you." I am talking about that small, warm moment when you feel seen. Today, I want to explore this feeling with you. Through a story, through simple English, through reflection, and through your own voice. Let me take you back to a small room where I used to study. It was not a perfect room. The desk was old. The chair was slightly broken. The light above me flickered sometimes. But every evening, I sat there with my notebook. I was learning English. Not because it was easy. Not because I loved grammar. But because I wanted something more. I remember one night very clearly. It was late. The house was quiet. My parents were already asleep. I could hear my father's soft cough from the other room. I could hear my mother turning in her bed. I looked at my textbook and I felt tired. Very tired. I thought, why am I doing this? And then another thought came. I want to make them proud. Not famous. Not rich. Just proud. That sentence gave me strength. Let's say it together. I want to make them proud. Repeat after me. I want to make them proud. Say it slowly. I want to make them proud. When we say make someone proud, we are not forcing anything. We are expressing a hope, a desire, a quiet dream inside our chest. That night, I closed my eyes for a moment. I imagined my mother telling her friend, "My son is working hard. He is studying English." I imagined my father saying, "He never gives up." And suddenly, the small room did not feel so small. It felt like the beginning of something. Maybe you have your own version of this story. Maybe you are studying at night too. Maybe you are working during the day and studying in the evening. Maybe you feel tired. Maybe sometimes you ask yourself, is this worth it? Let me tell you something honestly. I have asked that question many times. There were moments when my English felt broken, when I spoke and people did not understand me, when I made mistakes, when I felt embarrassed. And in those moments, the dream of making my family proud felt far away. Very far. But I kept going. Not perfectly. Not confidently. But slowly. And sometimes, slowly is enough. There was a day when I had to speak English in front of a group of people for the first time. My hands were shaking. My voice was not steady. I remember thinking, what if I fail? What if I forget my words? But then I remembered my father's long days at work. I remembered my mother waking up early, preparing breakfast, never complaining. I thought, they worked so hard. I can stand here for 5 minutes. So I took a deep breath, and I spoke. It was not perfect, but it was real. After that, I called my parents. I didn't say I was amazing. I just said I did it. My mother laughed gently and said, "That's good. I'm happy for you." That simple sentence meant everything. I'm happy for you. Let's repeat that. I'm happy for you. When someone says, "I'm happy for you," it means they are proud in a quiet way. They may not use big words, but their heart is full. Sometimes we imagine making our family proud means we must do something big. We must become successful. We must earn a lot of money. We must achieve something extraordinary. But I have learned something. Pride is often built from small moments, from consistency, from effort, from not giving up. Let me tell you another story. There was a time when I failed an important test. I had studied for weeks. I believed I was ready. But when I saw the results, my heart sank. I felt ashamed. I felt like I had disappointed everyone. I did not want to tell my parents. I thought, if I want to make them proud, I cannot fail. But that night, I told them the truth. I said I didn't pass. There was silence for a few seconds. And then my father said something I will never forget. He said, "Are you going to try again?" I said, "Yes." And he replied, "Then I am already proud." That changed something inside me. Being proud is not only about winning. It is about trying again. It is about resilience. Let's learn this word gently. Resilience. It means the ability to continue even after difficulty. Say it slowly. Resilience. Resilience. When you continue after failure, you show resilience. And that can make someone proud. Maybe you have failed before. Maybe you felt like you let your family down. Maybe you thought, "I'm not good enough." But let me ask you something softly. Are you still here? Are you still trying? If the answer is yes, then there is already something to be proud of. Sometimes we confuse making my family proud with becoming someone else. We think we must change completely. We must be perfect. We must hide our weaknesses. But real pride often grows when we are honest. When we say, "This is who I am and I am trying." There was a moment when my mother visited me after I had started teaching English. I was nervous, not because of my students, but because she was sitting in the back of the room, watching me, listening. After the class, she did not say, "You were amazing." She simply said, "You look happy." And I realized something powerful. Sometimes our family does not only want our success, they want our happiness. They want to see us standing in our own life. They want to see that we are okay. Maybe you are choosing a path that is different from what your family imagined. Maybe they wanted you to be a doctor, but you love art. Maybe they wanted you to stay close to home, but you want to travel. Making your family proud does not always mean following their exact dream. Sometimes it means walking your path with courage and respect. It means saying, "I am grateful for you, and I am also becoming myself." That is not easy. It takes maturity. It takes communication. It takes love. I want to share something personal. There was a time when I felt pressure, a heavy pressure. I felt that I had to succeed quickly. I had to prove something. I had to show results. And that pressure made learning difficult. I was not learning because I loved it. I was learning because I was afraid. Afraid of disappointing them. Afraid of being not enough. Have you ever felt that? If you have, you are not alone. Fear can push us forward for a while, but love can carry us much further. When I changed my mindset from I must prove myself to I want to grow, something softened inside me. I started enjoying the process. I started enjoying English not as a tool for success, but as a way to express myself. And slowly, the pride became natural, not forced. Natural. Let's practice a sentence together. I am growing at my own pace. Repeat after me. I am growing at my own pace. At my own pace. This phrase is important. It means you are not comparing yourself. You are not racing against others. You are moving forward in your own rhythm. Maybe your cousin already has a big job. Maybe your friend is earning more money. Maybe someone your age is already married, already successful, already ahead. But your journey is your journey. And when you grow at your own pace, you build something stable. Let me paint another scene for you. It is early morning. You wake up before your family. The house is quiet. You sit at the table with a cup of tea or coffee. You open your English notebook. You read a short paragraph. You whisper the words. Your pronunciation is not perfect. But you try again and again. In that quiet moment, nobody is watching. Nobody is clapping. Nobody is praising you. But you are building something invisible. Discipline, confidence, skill. And one day, those invisible mornings become visible results. One day, you speak more clearly. One day, you get a job opportunity. One day, you help someone in English. And your family sees it. They may not know about the early mornings. They may not know about the tears, but they see the growth. I want you to understand something deeply. You do not have to suffer silently to make your family proud. You do not have to hide your struggles. Sometimes sharing your journey brings you closer. When I started sharing my fears with my parents, our relationship changed. I stopped trying to be the perfect son. I started being a real human. And surprisingly, that made them even more proud. Pride is not always loud. Sometimes it is a quiet trust, a quiet belief. I believe in you. Maybe no one has said that to you clearly. So let me say it now. I believe in you. I believe you can grow. I believe you can learn. I believe you can build a life that feels meaningful. And yes, I believe you can make your family proud. But I also want to add something important. Your worth is not only measured by your family's pride. Your worth is not only measured by achievements. You are valuable because you are trying. Because you are aware. Because you care. Sometimes, the pressure to make our family proud can turn into self-criticism. We say things like, I should be better by now. I should earn more. I should speak better English. Let's transform that language. Instead of I should, try saying, I am learning. Instead of "I'm not good enough," try saying "I am improving." Language shapes the way we see ourselves. When you speak gently to yourself, you grow with strength, not fear. I remember the first time my father told someone else about my work. He didn't know I was listening. He said he teaches English online. There was pride in his voice. It was subtle, but it was there. And I realized something. Sometimes they are already proud, even before we feel ready, even before we feel successful. Sometimes they are proud of our effort, our direction, our honesty. So maybe today, instead of asking, "How can I make my family proud?" you can ask, "How can I live in a way that feels true to me?" Because when you live truthfully, with integrity, pride follows naturally. Let's take a gentle moment together. Think about one small action you can take this week. Maybe it is studying English for 20 minutes. Maybe it is applying for a job. Maybe it is having an honest conversation. Maybe it is simply not giving up. Now say this quietly in your mind. I am doing this for growth, not for pressure. Repeat it slowly. I am doing this for growth, not for pressure. Feel the difference. Growth feels open. Pressure feels heavy. You deserve growth. There is one more story I want to share. A student once told me, "I want to speak English well so my parents will see that I am not wasting my time." I asked him, "Do you enjoy learning?" He paused. He said, "Yes, but I'm scared. Scared that it will not be enough. Scared that he will fail. Scared that the dream will disappoint everyone." I told him something simple. If you keep showing up, that is not a waste. Showing up means you are present. You try. You continue. Showing up every day is powerful. Let's practice that phrase. I keep showing up. Repeat it. I keep showing up, even when it's hard. I keep showing up. This is the heart of making someone proud. Not one big moment, but many small, consistent steps. As we come closer to the end of our time together, I want you to imagine something. Imagine your family sitting together. Imagine them talking about you, not about your salary, not about your title, but about your character. They say, "He works hard. She is kind. They never give up." Would that make you feel proud of yourself? Because here is a gentle truth. Before we make our family proud, we must learn to feel proud of ourselves. Not in an arrogant way, but in a peaceful way. A way that says, "I am becoming." You are not late. You are not behind. You are on your path. And every word you learn in English, every sentence you speak, every fear you face is part of that path. When you speak English, you are not just learning a language. You are expanding your world. You are opening doors. You are building bridges. And maybe one day, you will look back at this moment, at this quiet listening, at this small decision to keep going, and you will smile, because you will realize that you were already making them proud, not by being perfect, but by being persistent. Let's end with one final sentence together. I am proud of who I am becoming. Repeat after me. I am proud of who I am becoming. Hold that sentence gently. Carry it with you. And before you leave today, I want to stay with this feeling just a little longer. Because wanting to make your family proud is not a small theme. It is not a simple sentence. It is something that shapes decisions, habits, even the way we speak to ourselves. There is a quiet memory I have never forgotten. I was sitting at a family dinner. Nothing special, just an ordinary evening. The food was simple. The conversation was light. My parents were talking about neighbors, about work, about daily life. At some point, my aunt asked me, "So, how is your English now?" It was such a small question, but inside me, it felt big. I smiled and answered in English for a few seconds, just a few sentences, simple sentences. Everyone laughed softly, not because it was funny, but because it was new. It was different. It was growth. My mother looked at me with surprise. My father leaned back in his chair and listened carefully. No applause, no dramatic reaction, just attention. And in that attention, I felt something warm. I realized that sometimes making your family proud is not about changing the world. It is about changing yourself, slowly, in front of them. It is about letting them witness your growth. Witness. That word is beautiful. To witness means to see something happen. Your family witnesses your journey. They see the small improvements. They see your effort, even when they don't say much. Sometimes we think they don't notice, but they do. Maybe not every detail, but they feel the direction. Let me ask you something gently. When was the last time you surprised yourself? Not with something huge, but with something honest. Maybe you spoke English for 1 full minute without stopping. Maybe you understood a podcast without subtitles. Maybe you introduced yourself confidently. That moment matters. Because when you grow, even in private, it changes your energy. And your family can feel that energy. There was a period in my life when I felt stuck. I was working, studying, trying, but not seeing fast results. I compared myself to others. I thought, they are moving faster, they are achieving more. And comparison started stealing my joy. Comparison is dangerous. It makes your progress feel small. It makes your effort feel invisible. But growth is not a competition. It is a personal evolution. When you compare less, you appreciate more. I remember one evening walking home alone. The sky was turning orange. The air felt cool. I thought about my parents when they were my age. They did not have the same opportunities. They did not have online courses. They did not have global access. But they worked with what they had. And suddenly, my perspective shifted. Maybe making them proud is not about being better than others. Maybe it is about honoring their sacrifices. When you honor someone's sacrifices, you treat your opportunities with respect. You don't waste them. You don't complain too much. You try. Not because you are forced, but because you understand the value. Let's say a sentence together. I respect the opportunities I have. Repeat it slowly. I respect the opportunities I have. When you say that, feel the weight of it. Respect changes your attitude. It changes how you study. It changes how you work. there was a quiet turning point in my journey. I stopped asking, how can I impress them? And I started asking, how can I become responsible for my life? Responsibility is powerful. It is not heavy when you accept it willingly. It becomes strength. When you take responsibility for your learning, for your mistakes, for your progress, you stop blaming. You stop waiting. You start building. And when your family sees that you are responsible, that you take ownership, that you do not run away from challenges, pride grows naturally. I want to share something vulnerable. There were times when I felt I was not enough. Even when I achieved something, even when I improved, I still heard a voice inside saying, "It's not enough yet." Maybe you know that voice. That voice can be loud. But here is something important. You do not silence that voice by achieving more. You soften that voice by accepting yourself. Acceptance does not mean you stop growing. It means you grow without hating yourself. If you are learning English only because you feel ashamed, the journey will feel heavy. If you are learning because you believe in your potential, the journey feels meaningful. Potential. That word is important. Potential means the ability to develop into something greater. You have potential, not because of your background, not because of your family name, but because you are human, and humans grow. Sometimes making your family proud is also about healing old misunderstandings. Maybe there were arguments. Maybe there were expectations that felt unfair. Maybe there were moments when you felt unseen. Growth can become a bridge. When you mature, when you communicate calmly, when you listen better, something changes. I once had a difficult conversation with my father about my career. He did not fully understand my direction at first. He worried. He questioned. And I felt frustrated. But instead of reacting with anger, I chose to explain slowly. I told him why English mattered to me. I told him what it gave me. Confidence, connection, possibility. He did not immediately say, "I understand." But over time, he saw my dedication. And dedication speaks louder than arguments. Maybe you are in that phase right now. Maybe your family does not fully understand your dream. Maybe they worry. Worry often hides behind strict words, behind pressure, behind criticism. Sometimes when they push you, it is not because they doubt you. It is because they are afraid for you, afraid you will struggle, afraid you will be hurt. When you see their fear, instead of only hearing their pressure, your heart softens. And when your heart softens, communication improves. There is another layer to this theme. Sometimes we want to make our family proud because we feel we owe them everything. We feel indebted, grateful, responsible. Gratitude is beautiful. But remember, you are not a repayment project. You are a living person. Yes, they sacrificed. Yes, they supported. But your life is not only a repayment. It is a continuation. You continue their story in your own way. And when you thrive, when you become stable, when you are emotionally healthy, that is one of the greatest forms of gratitude. Let me invite you to reflect for a moment. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine your younger self. Maybe a child. Maybe a teenager. version of you also wanted to make someone proud. But more than that younger you wanted to feel safe, wanted to feel loved, wanted to feel capable. Now imagine speaking to that younger version. You say, I am trying. You say, I am learning. You say, I haven't given up. How would that younger version feel? Probably proud. Sometimes the person we need to make proud is not only our parents, it is our past self. If you are still learning, still improving, still standing after difficulties, you are honoring that child. And that matters. There is something else I have learned. When you start feeling proud of your own effort, your relationship with your family becomes healthier. You stop chasing their approval. You start sharing your journey. Sharing is different from seeking validation. Validation says, please tell me I'm good enough. Sharing says, this is what I'm building. When you share confidently, calmly, you invite them into your life, not as judges, but as witnesses. And that feels lighter. I want to give you a practical exercise. Tonight or tomorrow, try speaking one honest sentence to your family. It can be simple. I'm working on improving my English. Or I'm trying something new. You don't need a big speech, just honesty. Then continue showing up. Continue studying. Continue practicing. Over time, consistency builds trust. Trust builds pride. And pride builds connection. Remember, making your family proud is not a race. It is not about dramatic success stories. It is about alignment. When your actions match your values, when your effort matches your dreams, when your growth matches your potential, that alignment creates quiet confidence. And quiet confidence is powerful. Maybe one day you will sit at a table with your family. Maybe you will share a story in English. Maybe you will explain your work. Maybe you will translate something for them. And they will look at you with that soft expression. Not because you are perfect, but because you grew. And even if they never say the words clearly, you will feel it. You will feel that they see you. But until that day comes, I want you to remember something very important. Your journey is valid now. Not only when you succeed, not only when you reach a goal, now. Every page you read, every sentence you practice, every fear you face, every time you continue instead of quitting, you are building a life that your family can be proud of. And more importantly, you are building a life that you can be proud of. And that is the foundation of everything. Before we truly close this space together, I want to stay with you a little longer in this quiet place between effort and hope. Because the desire to make your family proud does not disappear after one success. It stays with you. It grows with you. It changes shape as you grow older. When you are young, making your family proud might mean good grades. Later, it might mean a stable job. Later still, it might mean building your own family or simply becoming a kind, responsible adult. The definition evolves. And sometimes, without noticing, the pressure evolves too. There was a period in my life when I had already achieved some things. I was teaching. I was speaking English every day. I had students who trusted me. From the outside, It looked like progress. But inside, I still felt a quiet question. Is this enough? It surprised me, because I thought once I reached a certain level, the pressure would disappear. But growth creates new standards. And if we are not careful, we move the finish line again and again. First, we say, if I can speak English fluently, my family will be proud. Then we reach fluency, and we say, if I earn more, they will be proud. Then we earn more, and we say, if I achieve something bigger, then it will be enough. Enough! That word can be dangerous, because enough keeps moving. So I had to stop one day and ask myself a deeper question. What does proud really mean to me? Not to society, not to my relatives, to me. And I realized something important. When I imagine my family being proud, I don't see trophies. I see stability. I see peace in their faces. I see them not worrying about me. Maybe this is closer to the truth. Sometimes we want to make our family proud because we want them to stop worrying. We want them to feel safe about our future. We want them to relax. When I understood that, my mindset changed again. Instead of chasing impressive achievements, I focused on building stability, improving my communication, managing my time better, becoming emotionally stronger, because stability is not loud, but it is powerful. Let me share a small moment that touched me deeply. I once visited my parents after a long time away. I was sitting in the living room, talking about my work. My father asked practical questions. How many students? Is it stable? Do you enjoy it? I answered honestly. And then he said something simple. As long as you can take care of yourself, I'm at peace. At peace. That phrase stayed with me. He didn't say, be the best. He didn't say, earn the most. He said, take care of yourself. Maybe sometimes we misunderstand what our family truly wants. Maybe they don't need perfection. Maybe they need reassurance. Reassurance that we are okay. Reassurance that we are not lost. Reassurance that we are moving forward. And learning English, improving your skills, building your confidence, these are forms of reassurance. When you speak more clearly, when you apply for better opportunities, when you expand your world, you are quietly telling them, I'm building something. But I also want to explore another layer, something more delicate. What if your family does not always express pride openly? What if they are quiet? What if they are not emotional? In many cultures, parents do not say, I'm proud of you often. They show love through actions, through food, through financial support, through advice, through worry. If you are waiting for big emotional words, you might feel disappointed. But pride does not always come in sentences. Sometimes it comes in small behaviors. A relative asking about you again and again. A parent mentioning your work to a neighbor. A subtle smile when you speak confidently. We must learn to read those small signals, because pride can be quiet. And now I want to turn the focus slightly inward. You want to make your family proud. But do you allow yourself to feel proud of your effort? Or are you always minimizing your progress? Maybe you say things like, it's nothing. I'm still not good enough. It's just small progress. Be careful with that language, because when you reduce your effort, you train your mind to ignore growth. Instead, try saying, I improved. I worked hard. I didn't quit. These are not arrogant sentences. They are honest acknowledgments. Let's practice together. I didn't quit. Say it slowly. I didn't quit. There is strength in that sentence, especially when learning a language, because language learning is not fast. It is repetitive. It is sometimes boring. It requires patience. When you continue, even when it feels slow, you are building discipline. And discipline builds character. Character is something families respect deeply, even if they don't say it directly. There was a time when I felt emotionally exhausted. I was juggling responsibilities, work, expectations, self-improvement. I felt stretched. And one evening I asked myself honestly, am I trying to make them proud, or am I afraid of disappointing them? Those are two different motivations. Making someone proud can come from love. Avoiding disappointment can come from fear. Fear creates tension. Love creates direction. If your motivation is fear, the journey feels heavy. If your motivation is love, the journey feels meaningful. So maybe today, you can gently check your heart. Ask yourself, am I moving forward because I care or because I'm scared? If you discover fear, don't judge yourself. Just notice it. Awareness is the first step toward change. And when you shift from fear to care, something softens. You still work hard, but you breathe more easily. You still improve, but you don't punish yourself for small mistakes. Let me tell you something I truly believe. Your family's pride should be a bonus, not your only source of identity. Because if your identity depends only on their approval, you will always feel unstable. But if your identity is built on your values, your effort, your growth, then pride becomes a natural outcome, not a desperate goal. I once had a student who said, if my parents are not proud of me, I feel like I failed. That sentence broke my heart a little, because no human should carry that much weight alone. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions perfectly. You are responsible for your effort, your honesty, your integrity. The rest is not fully in your control. And maturity means accepting what is and is not in your control. You can study. You can practice. You can communicate. You can grow. But you cannot control exactly how others react. And that is okay. Let's practice a grounding sentence together. I focus on what I can control. Repeat it softly. I focus on what I can control. When you say that, feel the calm inside it. Control your effort. Control your attitude. Control your consistency. Let go of the rest. There is another perspective I want to share. Sometimes the greatest way to make your family proud is not through achievement, but through kindness, through patience, through respect, through staying connected. As we grow, as we become more independent, we sometimes distance ourselves emotionally. We become busy. We become focused on goals. And we forget simple things. A phone call, a message, a small visit. Those small actions often mean more than big achievements. Because at the end of the day, pride is connected to relationship, not just results. One of the most meaningful compliments I ever received from a family member was not about my career. It was about my character. They said, "You have become calmer." Calmer. That meant more to me than any professional success. Because it showed growth inside, not just outside. So maybe part of making your family proud is emotional growth. Learning to manage your reactions. Learning to communicate clearly. Learning to listen. When you respond with patience instead of anger, that is maturity. When you admit mistakes instead of defending your ego, that is strength. These qualities build long-term pride, not temporary excitement. And as you continue learning English, remember something beautiful. Every time you speak, you are practicing courage. Every time you express your thoughts in another language, you are expanding your identity. You are showing yourself that you can grow beyond your comfort zone. That confidence does not only help your career, it changes how you walk, how you speak, how you see yourself. And when your family sees that change, that inner confidence, they feel it. Even if they don't fully understand the language itself, they see the transformation. As we stay here together in this quiet reflection, I want you to imagine a future version of yourself. 5 years from now, you are sitting with your family. You are calmer, more stable, more confident. You speak clearly about your life. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You simply exist with quiet strength. That version of you is not created overnight. It is built day by day, sentence by sentence, choice by choice. And today, listening to this, reflecting on your motivation, practicing your English, this is one of those choices. You are already building that future. Slowly, gently, consistently. And maybe, just maybe, the most powerful shift happens when you realize this. You don't have to become someone extraordinary to make your family proud. You simply have to become fully yourself, responsible, growing, honest, present. When you live like that, pride becomes natural, and peace follows. And as we truly come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with one final image. Imagine yourself years from now, not standing on a big stage, not holding a trophy, just sitting at a table with your family. The room is warm. The conversation is simple. There is laughter. There is comfort. You are not trying to prove anything anymore. You are not trying to impress. You are simply present. You speak with calm confidence. You listen with patience. You share your thoughts clearly. And when you look into their eyes, you don't see pressure. You see trust. Trust that you can take care of yourself. Trust that you are growing. Trust that you are becoming your own person. That is what making your family proud truly feels like. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady. And here is something I hope you carry with you long after this episode ends. You do not need to rush your growth. You do not need to punish yourself for slow progress. You do not need to compare your timeline to anyone else's. If you are trying, you are moving. If you are learning, you are building. If you are reflecting, you are maturing. And every time you choose to study instead of quit, every time you speak even though you are nervous, every time you admit a mistake and try again, you are shaping a version of yourself that is strong. Strong not because you are perfect, but because you are persistent. And maybe one day, when someone asks your parents about you, they will smile gently and say, they are doing well. Doing well. Not perfect. Not extraordinary. Just steady. And steady is powerful. But before we finish, I want to say something directly to you. You are allowed to want to make your family proud. That desire is beautiful. It comes from love. But do not forget this. You are also allowed to make yourself proud. You are allowed to celebrate your effort. You are allowed to feel proud of your growth. You are allowed to say, I am improving. Because when you feel proud of yourself, your energy changes. Your posture changes. Your voice changes. And when your voice changes, your English changes. Clearer, calmer, more confident. You are not just learning a language. You are learning how to stand in your own life. So tonight or tomorrow morning, when you open your notebook, when you repeat a sentence, when you practice pronunciation, remember this simple truth. You are not just studying English. You are building a future version of yourself. A version who is stable. A version who is confident. A version who can look at their family with peace, not pressure. And that journey begins with one small step at a time. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for listening with your heart. Thank you for choosing growth. This is English with Thomas. I'm Thomas. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep trusting yourself.